Okay, so here I am, completely unfiltered today. Part of me wishes I could fit this in a 3-minute video, but I've trained myself to over-explain everything throughout my life. So this could be quite lengthy, but it has to get out. I should be working right now, but I've got to get this out. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have been on a path of enlightenment, apparently. And it all started when I started doing the May challenge and reading for myself every day. And at the same time, going through some health issues. And actually, right before the May challenge, I took a break. I took some time to myself to help work on myself with my health issues. And for my own spiritual journey, it was like, I guess I knew this was coming somehow on a soul level. But I'm going to be brief about it. You can go back and watch the last 2-3 weeks of my videos if you want to get the whole story. But the quick gist of it is that I kept pulling the judgment card for myself and kept getting the message that I had to release judgment on myself. And that, without even trying to connect the dots, I started doing solar plexus chakra work because that's where my attacks are. I stated before that, like, I have issues from my throat chakra down to my root, but I was guided, and not through the judgment card, I was guided in different ways to start with my solar plexus, morning yellow. Well, last night I did my candle magic ritual kit and I finished out the solar plexus chakra week. And this morning I had an incredible realization on what that truly meant. Release the judgment on myself and others. You know, I don't let my ego go there. It wasn't just on myself. It was on myself and others. And I'm going to try not to be too emotional through this. When I was getting these downloads for the last hour and a half with my kids, like, I'm like on my phone. I got to write it down because I'm a writer. So I'm going to be reading to you my exact thoughts of what I've pretty much just gone through. I'm still shaking. I'm still shaking from this. This shit's insane. Here we go. So I have always been too critical on myself. And at the same time, I judged everyone else who, in my eyes, didn't seem to care. Okay? I knew that I worried and cared too much, but I thought deep down that everyone else should too. And I'm going to explain why. I always figured that, and my crown chakra is tingling right now. This is crazy. I always figured that we were here on earth to put others first and not ourselves. I literally carried that belief with me up until 8 years ago. I learned about 8 years ago that we are actually here to love ourselves first. Yet, I never released that judgment on myself or on others. By not being so hard on myself doesn't mean that I care about other people less. It simply means that I care about myself more. Not more than other people, but more than I ever had. It means releasing judgment on other people who I thought didn't care enough to worry or concern themselves every single moment of their life with the feelings and every little problem of other people. And then I said, right when you think you've got it all figured out, you learn something new over and over and over again. The healing journey is a never-ending journey. I cannot be everybody's everything. Excuse me. I need to be my own everything. full body chills, and teach others how to be theirs. What I've learned and healed over the last 2 to 3 weeks has led to this. And now I have to forgive myself for 36 years of judgment on myself and on other people. Don't feel bad for me. I'm okay. This needs to happen. This is just the first time I ever recorded it happening. The thing is that no one raised me this way, but the lack of love and care for being me as a child gave me the false belief that by putting others first, even to my own detriment, would somehow teach them or give them the belief that they should put me or others first as well. I wish I could make this into a short video so more people would see it, but I was so certain we were put on this earth to put others first. I couldn't understand why nobody else seemed to get it. Why was I the only one who understood what life was about? Why, even when I loved everybody else and cared about them and worried for them, they still didn't reciprocate? And if they did, it wasn't loving me for who I truly was, because I didn't know who that was. And this was before I met my husband. Up until 8 years ago, I've been on like a constant awakening and path of enlightenment for the last 8 years. A lot of this is the beginning of the story, but the judgment is what I have still carried on, and we'll get to that. I was so broken and lost and scared and misunderstood, and this was from 28 down. I have to fill my cup first. I preach about it. That's what I tell other people. And I have to let it go now. I have to become that person that I always judged so harshly, who seemed to not mind about things that I would let consume me. So I have to release that judgment I've always put on other people for not giving a damn in my eyes, and at the same time try to find that within me. So like I was saying, I've completed my solar plexus healing for now. What's crazy is that Katie, thank you if you're watching this. I saw your tiger's eye video of the stone, and I am going to, I think this is natural beeswax. I am going to bury, I already planned to do it this morning before this even happened, bury the remnants of my, my solar plexus chakra that I did last night, and that was going to be it, but apparently this is it for now, for the solar plexus. So I said, I've completed my solar plexus healing. For now, I know I'll be back. I was here 8 years ago, and I might be back in another 8. And then I worry about my children. My older two, like, what have I already imprinted on them that was damaging? But I know that they're strong enough to heal it, and now I can help them. My efforts these last 3 weeks have not been in vain. The universe has spoke, and I have listened with my heart and soul. I am ready for my new beginning. Again. What's funny is I recently made a video saying that 36 was going to be a big year. I still have a whole nother month before I get there. So if this shit's happening now, I can only imagine what the next year is going to be like. This shit is crazy. So I always used to wonder, how could they be so careless, so selfish? And yet they seemed to be so loved. And secretly, I resented that. And recently, I learned that resentment does not mean being angry, but it means being envious. I envied that in other people, yet I judged them for being that way because I didn't know how. I think somewhere along the line I knew that, and again before 8 years ago, because somewhere along the line within the last 8 years I knew that, but I didn't know how to fix it or heal it. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard. I got that from the notebook. But now, when I notice it happening, when I notice myself having that judgment on myself, being too overly critical of all the things I feel like I have to do for other people, and for other people not being that way, I won't feel ashamed or resentful or angry or hurt. I will know to change my perspective again and again and again until I retrain myself to put myself first and to be okay with that. To love myself first and foremost so that I can accept the love from others. And now, I wasn't sure, because I'm not doing them in order. I'm doing everything in life to where I'm being pulled. And yesterday I made a solar plexus chakra video, and I wasn't even trying. I just said solar plexus heart chakra. So apparently, I'm being guided to work on my heart chakra next, which makes perfect sense now that this has happened. So that will start next week. So I wrote, that might mean being an asshole sometimes and being okay with that. I have a lot to learn, and I'm okay with that too. And it's interesting because I've always said that we all fuck up our kids one way or another, whether we're healed or we're unhealed. I feel like I always said I have 5 kids. I have 5 different ways to fuck them up. But maybe what this means is that I can make it easier for them to heal. And I say we all fuck up our kids in one way or another because that's what we came to earth to do. Not to hurt or to suffer, but to love, to be unconditional love, to give and receive unconditional love. And there's a lot of lessons that we choose to come here to learn. We choose these difficult paths. We choose to have to figure certain things out to attain that love over and over and over again. The school of life, right? But so that's why I say that. I'm not being like, oh, you're gonna fuck your kids up, but not on purpose, and I think I get to it somewhere in here, like, I might still hold some resentment because there's still so much healing to do when it comes to my mother, but I know that they have their own traumas to deal with too. I do get to that, so I'm not going to do that yet, and then I wrote, I feel broken all over again somehow. People didn't not love me because they loved themselves more, which was what I saw, what I thought. It was because I didn't love myself or put myself first at all. It was me who stopped it. It was me who stopped other people from being able to love me after my parents, okay? I don't feel like that includes my parents. I do feel like that was the catalyst for me thinking that I was so unlovable just by being myself. But maybe someday I'll see that differently too. I know they had their own traumas, but I won't make excuses for that anymore. And I did. I stopped making excuses for that about 8 years ago. Was when all this started. So who will I be now? Well, not someone who teaches my kids to put other people's happiness before their own. And I saw that in my daughter Sarah's birth chart. And I mean, can I even prevent that? Even with what I'm going through, if it's in her birth chart, that something specifically with the mother, and that she is going to feel in childhood like she's made to put other people's joy and happiness before her own. So I hope that I can fix that. That's all I can say. I always figured that everyone took my kindness as a weakness. But now I realize that the weight of the world doesn't have to fall on my shoulders anymore. And it's so heavy. What a heavy load I was carrying. No wonder why my solar plexus was literally killing me. I'm okay. This is so therapeutic. My parents hated themselves, and that's what I learned how to do. To criticize and hate everything about myself. I got chills again. Just for being different than everyone. For not fitting a mold. I paid for their trauma. They could not heal. And in my eyes, they wouldn't even try. But healing wasn't really a thing for their generation, right? But I still always felt that if they loved me enough, they would try. But maybe in some fucked up way, them not trying led me down my own road of self-love and healing. I guess I chose to come here and not have that parental love for that very reason. And it's so fucked up how the universe works sometimes, isn't it? I'm shaky. Oh, so at this point, as I'm writing this, I'm making lunch. And like all kids, my girls went through a Frozen phase, but I haven't watched it in a while, in a long time. And Sarah asked to watch it today. And right when I was at this part, the song Let It Go came on. And there's some lyrics I have to say because it was like, and that's the thing, it's so weird because sometimes the universe is so silent, it feels like. Even for those of us who are in constant communication. But sometimes it's so loud, sometimes it's just chatty. And the universe has been very chatty with me lately. And it's felt so good. But at the same time, I hope everyone's proud that I've been listening, that I made it here, fucking figured this part out anyway. I've never really listened to the lyrics of this song, and even Emma, who's almost 16, when Frozen came out, like, it was all I heard, and now it's all I hear again, and the lyrics never fucking hit me. The wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Wow, right? I'm not going to sing to you, not today. Let it go, can't hold it back anymore. And this is playing while all of this is going on. Turn away and slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. It's funny how some distance makes everything seem small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. What the fuck? Oh, this is fucking insane. This is fucking insane. Okay, so, all right, after the Frozen, because I was in the middle of a download, like I couldn't stop, and when that song came on, I didn't want to be crying. The kids see me like ugly cry, so I'm ugly crying for you now. So, but I hope by sharing my journey with you that I can help you understand yours a little better. That's the whole point in this, and it's healing. But I really hope that I can help you understand yours. Maybe we are all not so different in the end after all, you know? So I no longer have to worry about if people like me as long as I like myself, or if people love me as long as I love myself. I mean, I do have to live with myself after all, right? I said LOL. So, no more self-pity. And I'm so ashamed of this. I really am, but I gotta let that go. I can't sit and dwell on that feeling. For thinking that I was some saint and I was such a good person. You know, I used to pray and I'd be like, I'm such a good person. You know, like, why me? Why, you know, why don't I matter to anybody? But I wasn't a saint. I was doing what I thought I had to do to earn love, and that's what I'm gonna get there. Before I even met my husband, I was always convinced that I had to earn love in many different ways, and I did heal that, but clearly I never released the judgment and on myself or others. I did in a different sense. It was like a different healing journey, but this is like a part 72 or something. But so I don't have to do everything for everyone, and it's not even in order to earn their love anymore, because I know that I've healed that. But I think I still have it ingrained in me that if I don't do everything for everyone, if I don't, how will they know that I love them? Because, yeah, part of it was my way of thinking that would get me love. But on the other hand, it became such a part of who I was that that's how I show my love now, is by doing. Constantly doing for everyone. And if I don't do that, how will they know that I love them? So that's what we're going to move into next. So I coddled everyone and everything before just dying for someone to give it back, right? But then I met my husband, and instantly I knew that it was an otherworldly love. All the love I ever could have wanted from everybody, like the whole world, was all sitting right there in him. And I knew on a soul level that I would lose him too, that I would push him away by my cruelness of telling him that if he loved me, he would do X, Y, and Z. And it somehow would still never be enough. And I've already healed this part. But that's what I did before I met my husband. In all of my relationships with anyone I've ever known, I would tell you what love was, what it meant to love someone, to put me first, and how to do it. And then when they would do it, it wouldn't be enough. And I'm like, but if you would love me, you would do this. And it became this chain. And I made so many people feel so bad. And I've already healed that. When I went through the dark night of the soul and this awakening when I first met Brian, I was calling up so many people and being like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I'm sorry I treated you that way. And it's like, I've healed that part of it. I'm just telling you some more pieces of the puzzle. So like, because what's going on now is like, it's the icing on the cake. So I seriously just had to pause to burn some sage. Like, whoa. So my husband's love for me instantly was so raw and powerful and scary, which is why the twin flame has the running and the chasing, but that's for a whole nother big long discussion. But his love for me was so powerful on a soul level, and it was ancient. It was an ancient love, and I couldn't miss that opportunity on a soul level, that it forced me into a deep, dark night of the soul, a deep one. I spent an entire year, and I've never really told anybody this. 8 years ago, I spent an entire year. Mind you, up till then, I had been a single mother of 2. I'd always been working, going to school, running around to all these different sporting events. And I had really gotten to a point in my life where I think that I was putting on a mask for everybody so much that I was putting myself in positions and situations where maybe I was just hoping I would die or something, because I put myself in a lot of dangerous situations. I found in the nick of time is when we met. It was definitely divinely fated. But I spent an entire year in my bed trying to figure out who I was, because it was detrimental. Like, I had to learn how to love myself so I could give him the love that he deserved, right? Because I could not treat him the way that I had treated others in the past, and I didn't know any other way. So I had to figure myself out. And little by little, I found pieces of myself, and I, had an awakening over an awakening over an awakening, and just trying to understand why I was the way I was, because up until 28, I thought my childhood was all hunky-dory and gravy. I made so many excuses for so many people, and I really, all this that I'm telling you now, other than the release the judgment on other people and myself, love myself first, and not to do so much to other people, not to earn love anymore, but to show them I love them. Like, that's what I'm learning now. But the rest of this was over the last 8 years, mainly the first 1 to 3 years was crazy for us. Things have calmed down. And then of course, this I become a light worker and a healer as of like 18 months ago. So I guess I'm going on another 3-year awakening binge. But I learned at the point when I met him throughout the first year that I didn't have to earn his love. And I didn't know what to do about that at the time, because that's all I'd ever known, was to work for love, to earn love, to do things for love. Whether that's rides, money, work, grades, behave, act a certain way, look a certain way, be a certain way. It was, I was raised to have to do certain things to be loved. And as soon as I met him, I knew that I didn't have to do any of that. And I was so confused. I'm like, I don't have to earn your love. I don't have to do anything. I don't even know what to do with that. And that's what love is, by the way. When you don't have to do anything to earn it, it's just there. They just love you for being you, even when you don't know who the hell you are. Like, that's pretty deep, okay? And bless his soul, because what I'm doing right here, I've done with him dozens of times. He's had to do this. And he has such a strong, beautiful soul. Like, it's not easy being married, being spiritually tied, having a soul contract with somebody that's on such a large spiritual path. I could have very easily been like, oh, it's too difficult, and just walked away, but I couldn't. And we did do the running and chasing. Again, that's for another story. But not having to earn his love allowed me to have the space to learn how to love myself. And I did. And I still do. And I wouldn't be here talking to you right now if I didn't. But it's interesting because, I get to it. I'm almost done. Okay. I think the worst is over. A healer's journey is the most difficult of all because we can't see past the shadows. We forever seek the light in the darkness. You know, stars can't shine without the darkness. We're always seeking that light and always going through that darkness over and over and over again. So I said, don't feel bad for me. This is my testimony, my story, not my pity party. Be happy for me. Celebrate with me. Continue on with me as I discover more and more about life that can only be found through deep, wrenching pain. And then I said, so now for my inner teenager, ha ha ha. And I wrote a story to my inner child, a letter to my inner child, like a month ago. And I never even heard about the inner teenager until a few weeks ago. And then it's been popping up over and over and over again. So that should be fun. I'm sure I'll get to that in one of my chakras. This is going to be a long next year. And I even said this should be fun. I'm shaking and my adrenaline is rushing as I write this. I said I usually only have massive awakenings when I have a recreational drug night. And it's the truth. There's my secret. Like, that's why I think ayahuasca is where, like, you go through these deep, you know, the shamanistic, you know, whatever. And my soul still wants to do ayahuasca. But until then, I am not somebody who can, and I don't do drugs, but have a recreational drug night and just party and just have fun. Nope. I do something like this without even trying. But I said this is one of the rare times that something this massive happens to me without any extra added influences. It's so hard for me because I've convinced myself this is the end. It's so hard for me because I've convinced myself that and at this moment, one of my kids was asking me for the 1,000th time to cover them with a blanket. All 3 little ones, right? It's hard for me because I've convinced myself if I don't cover my kids up every time they're cold, they won't know that I love them. Not that they won't love me, but they won't know that I love them. Instead of teaching them how to do it, and they know how to do it. Take advantage of my kindness, you know, like they know how to do it. But if I don't do it every time, how else would they know that I love them? It used to be the only way I could see someone else loving me, but that's not true anymore now that I have my husband and his love. But it's still the only way that I know how to express my love, I realize. And that causes a lot of judgment when you hold yourself up to a certain standard and you're like, I have to do this, and this for everyone, or they won't know I love them. And if I don't do this, and this, then I'm criticizing myself, and I'm hard on myself, and I'm judging myself, and I'm mad at myself because I feel like I let them down. And then, like I said, judging other people. who don't deal with that kind of trauma, that kind of pain, when the judgment really is just envy, you know, because I said, if everyone doesn't rely on me, what is my purpose? Who am I now? Will I still love who I am? If I'm like everybody else that I always, you know, was like so judgmental about, now I get to love this new part of me, right? I said, I won't be cruel or cold or completely careless, but I won't be the same. But I will have more time and more energy for myself. And I've been so certain for so long that that was terribly wrong, to put myself first. Yes, I've learned to love myself over the last 8 years, but I still feel bad if I put myself first in any way, shape, or form. And then, you know, I judge secretly in my head or envy or get mad at other people who put themselves first, because I'm just so, you know, screaming to try to figure it out for my own. It's not something you can just do. And I'm still not going to be able to just do it. But so my throat is tight and I feel I can't breathe, paralyzed by my own words of realization. It feels like a panic attack, like I'm losing myself. But apparently you get the same feeling when you find yourself. And that's the end. That's the end. Whew, I hope that's the end for now, for a little bit, for a couple days, man. I mean, I can only take so much awakening at a time, but if you made it this far, awesome. You're a badass. I appreciate you. We'll see where it goes. I love that I pretty much documented how, like, I've gotten up to this point, and now I'm gonna go bury this. And then we're going to give yellow a little bit of a break. Like, now I can understand how to handle that and deal with that without the judgment. That goddamn judgment kept coming up. Ugh. And what's funny is this May Mantra Challenge, I don't even know how it found me or how I found it or what. But reading for myself every day is clearly exactly what I need. On top of all these signs that I'm getting. And it's all really fucking creepy, to be honest with you. It's really fucking creepy. But all things green next week, my favorite color, so that's cool. Yeah, I didn't even know up until I was around 28, 30 what my favorite color was. I didn't know what my favorite scent was, what my favorite anything was. And that was a tough year. That's why I spent that year pretty much in fucking bed, like that, not like in bed feeling sorry for myself. I worked harder in that 1 year than I think I have in my whole fucking life, being a single mother and working and going to college and whatever. That shit was tough. But yeah, my favorite color is green. So next week I get to live up the green and keep going on my fun yoga and meditation journey and see what else comes my way, see what realizations we have at the end of next week once I've worked on my heart chakra for 7 days straight in every way, shape, and form. And it's not something I'm trying to force either, or I'm not like pretending or fake it to make it. I'm just taking it one day at a time and getting here. Like I said, I'm supposed to be working right now, so I should probably do that. I'm going to edit this and I'm going to post it, and then I'm going to I feel so much better now. I can breathe, and I'm starving. I need to eat lunch, but I literally could not do anything after I fed the kids and laid them down for a nap until I did this. Like, it was a must do. I had to do it. There was no time to be pretty. There was no time for anything. I had to just do it. So I did it. But I love you all. I love you all very much. All right. Until next time.